Hello, everyone. So today I'm here with Shiv. I'm, of course, Hunter Salazar. We're going to talk about, first and foremost, Shiva and Shakti and really their non-dual nature, how it plays a part for how they play a part for Shiv here and for myself. And we're going to have a dialogue on that. So if you want to start off talking about how Shiva and Shakti has manifested in your life and their non-dual relationship with you, then we can go from there. So just take it away.
Yeah. So not really like Shiva and Shakti. Like they are always the part of every human being life.
Yeah.
Like every human being in life, there's somewhere like Shiva is there and Shakti is there. Like whether they are spiritual or not, but it's always there. So
Do you feel like we notice them more if we're aware of them, and then maybe we can manifest them to greater degrees?
I think like yeah, we notice them because but if we are spiritual, if we are spiritual enough, then we can notice them both. But like most of the part, like Shiva is like less um in the human life. The Shakti involvement is more, because Shiva is a state of that which is not, that which doesn't exist. It exists beyond our human mind. And in Shakti, like Shakti exists. Wait a minute, let me see my grimoire. I got it all written. It's given to me by Shiva. So what he says about this dimension, Shiva and Shakti are dimensions, are two different dimensions of energy. So what tells me about him, like its dimension and Shakti dimension, it says that Shakti is out, like it's born out of me. It's born out of myself. And Shiva says that he is that which is not, but still exists. He is that which is not, but still exists. But Shakti is that which is, like it is. And he mean it. I know like why he was saying it. He was saying is that which is not, because he's limitless. Because when we say that which is not, it's limitless. Like it cannot be measured. It cannot be. It's
Doesn't Shiva mean basically mean no thing? Like
yeah,
you can't
yeah,
confine him to our
yeah.
conception of reality, our
Mm,
conception of forms. He's
very true.
beyond. He interjects into this world, but he's beyond it. This is what is
Yeah,
always so amazing to me about Shiva is that he interjects into this world and kind of, you can say, impregnates it if you want to take it to a more physical level, but he is he is that state that which is beyond it, that one can only feel at its highest levels when you reach different levels of samadhi, and then once you obviously evolve spiritually to the point where you escape material forms completely. But you can experience Shiva to certain degrees here. But I feel like it's a ladder. I don't feel like it's either you experience Shiva all the way or you don't. I feel like as you realize more, as you become more, you slowly become that which is no thing. You slowly become a
yeah,
part of that energy. So, like, if Shiva is no thing, then he's never going to be separate in his ultimate state. Once you become attuned to the ultimate state, once you get there, you are of that ultimate state. So, in a way, we all become Shiva. Would you agree with that?
yeah. That way we can become Shiva, because the and all the religion people, like all the one who is in Hindu religion, refers to Shiva is one man with a devil fork in his hand, and like he's sitting on the tiger skin and meditating. No, he
Right.
this that is not Shiva. Shiva is just an dimension of energy, the unmanifested energy. The Shakti is manifested energy, and like Shiva is unmanifested energy. Let me see. Okay, so like Shiva can be reached by when when a person is in the state is in the state of complete silence, he can experience the Shiva completely, because at that time, like when you're meditating, there are different type of meditations, but I know there one meditation that is to access the Shiva dimension. Like in that, like we completely like think nothing, but and we are into nothingness. So that's the point where you can experience Shiva. That's the meditation from which you can experience that what Adi Yogi, the first yogi who have ever came to this world, have experienced. So that's Shiva and Shakti.
Well,
I got
before we move on to Shakti, I just want to say, do you feel like Shiva and something like the Tao in Taoism, the force that is beyond good and evil. It's just that there is this one force that you have to like realize, and perhaps even in other religions, or even other spiritual paths, there's this idea that there's this force that it is intrinsic to this reality, yet it is a state that one has to experience, not confined to this reality. So, like, do you feel like Shiva exists in different, well, for different people in different ways, by different names? Do you think that Shiva has been called by many different names in many different paths?
Yeah, I believe that's happening.
We lost him for a minute. I can edit.
Yeah. So what I was saying, like good and evil is like what it is like. You have to understand, good and evil is like man-made terms. It was never existed for the gods. Um, what you refer as good is good for yourself. Like first, um, suppose like you're a very jealous person, just suppose, and your colleague got a promotion in the job you both are working. So that's not good for you. That's bad for you. And but that can be good for him.
So you're
So
talking
like
about different measuring scales. Like it
yeah,
says in the Bhagavad Gita that everybody has their own measuring scale, and that
yeah,
justice it's not about justice. It's about empathy and growth. Well, at least it says
yeah,
that in the Mahabharata. I'm not sure about the Bhagavad Gita, but so there is this feeling that we have our own perspective and our own values that we form in relation to our own ego. So good and evil for every person is at least slightly different. So and I know what you're
different.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. But that's man-made term. Everything that man liked, he termed it as good, and everything that man doesn't like, it termed it as bad. So like their perception, to receive the things, and but God's perception to receive the things are completely like on the higher level. But when gods receive the thing, they don't see it as a good and evil. They just see it as in like how it is. It's and that's what I'm trying to do. I don't like put a benchmark on everything as in good and evil, whether it's good for me or not good for me. I just see it. It is as it is. I accept the nature of it. Whether I don't know, like whether it's good and evil. Only I know it is what it is. I cannot term it.
So do you feel like you do feel like a separate individual? There still is
Yeah.
a me
Yet
for you, an
but
I.
why this happened? Because I perform a ritual with Shiva in jumping into bottomless pit, which definitely I don't know gotta name other YouTubers who are performing that now. So but I already performed them that before them, like
Sadhguru talks about the bottomless pit in relation to Shiva.
yeah,
Um, but yeah.
yeah. Sadhguru is like, all right, I'm not gonna reveal the secret, but what Shiva told me about him. But yeah, he's somewhere connected to he's somewhere connected to Shiva a lot. And you can say he's his next reincarnation.
It's
So
it's hard to give like definitions in relation to Shiva, he's this or that.
he's
Why it's so hard for people to understand Shiva? Because
yeah,
he's not
because
he's not
he's not.
this or that. He's this and that in a way.
Yeah, he's everything. He
Yeah.
and he's beyond that like human mind can perceive. That's why we call them nothing. Because what human if something beyond like your perceptions comes into your mind, you say, "Oh man, this nothing, this fake." And like that's human. That's the very human nature. And when I performed the bottomless pit ritual, Shiva like completely like erased my ego. Like it's something like he completely like realized me, like how we all are one, how we all came from the one very darkness, and how the darkness converted into Shakti, and how the Shakti manifested here. And how we all are
Do
one.
when it comes to this darkness, would you classify it as maybe the void? That
uh
I often use that word. in reference to this other place that isn't really of thing. Um, but
So like,
I guess, either you can move on to Shakti or you can comment on that. Either way.
yeah. So like, darkness is not something evil or like that shit. Like what is being told to us by our religions. Darkness is not good and light are good. That's not. Darkness can also be good.
Yeah.
But what I can say is like, darkness is something like when human mind cannot receive something, it's dark. You go into a room, you know, and you see the room and like complete lights off, you cannot see nothing. You say it's darkness. But when you take an owl to that room, he can see everything. So that for him that's not darkness, For him like that's simple. So that thing happened, like anything that your mind cannot perceive, we call it darkness. But actually, like, it's beautiful for owl to be in darkness. He loves it. So what's darkness for us maybe light for him, so darkness and light is same thing. We cannot define them as different, but far more darkness is more powerful because darkness have big secrets. Because in light, like, you can see all the secrets, but in darkness you cannot see, you know uh
And really, you can. Well, I don't know if you would take it this far, but really, light is something that needs to exist in this material universe. But if we're talking about a place that everything is illumination, nothing needs to be illuminated, if that makes any sense. Everything is already aware of everything else, so there doesn't need to be a force that illuminates or a separate thing that illuminates because everything just is illumination. So, in a sense, that is darkness. We're getting into very, hard to understand concepts. But anyway, did you want to move on to Shakti and some of your ideas about Shakti?
yeah, I want to move on to the Shakti. Wait a minute. So what is Shakti? Is light. But Shakti is limited. Shakti is not infinite. It's just limited. It's manifested animation of the universe. It's manifested, but it's just the animation of the universe. Universe is dark. Who said the divine is darkness, and Shiva is complete darkness, and he's creator and destroyer both. So Shakti is light, but Shakti is finite. Shakti is limited, and it is manifestation of animation of universe. Like, it's just an animation. What we are seeing, this all is Shakti. Where we are living, this all is Shakti. But it's just manifestation.
What is the comparison between Kali and Shakti? Do you view them as the same thing, or would you say that they're two different, slightly different forces? Uh, I think that Kali Ma is very specific, but I'd like to hear your ideas about the relation to Kali and Shakti. If you think they're the same, or if you think that they're separate in some way.
Um, no, Kalima is Shakti. I think like they are. She is like different. You know, different personification of Shakti. That's how Kalima is because
I would agree with that.
yeah, she's just different personification of Shakti. What I believe. So that's all.
She
The
she
Shak the
feels she
Shak
feels Kalima to me feels very specific. Like
Yeah.
Kalima, it's like a very specific energy. That's why I kind of like I don't agree completely with everybody that says Kalima and Shakti are the same thing, but they are. I think Kalima is a certain kind of Shakti, but it's a very focused force. But anyway, go ahead with what you were saying.
Yeah. So like this, I was just saying that Shakti is like limited and like it's finite. We can define it. We can define it, but the Shiva is not definable. It's limitless. We
Hmm.
cannot define the Shiva, but we can define the Shakti, of course. That's
Is there anything that you wanted to move on to in regards to asking me, or did you want to like continue on with this topic?
yeah.
Could I?
I
But I
wanna.
could ask you more questions, but I'm trying to keep it to a certain amount of time. So I'm trying to keep it like around 20 minutes. But yeah, you can ask me anything, or we can move on to another topic that I have for you. Either way.
Yeah. So like, wait a second. Do you have any kind of idea? Like, I have my own idea, but I want to know yours. That why this all was made.
Like I said, I'm very traditional in the Hindu sense that I think that God wants to experience Himself, and then that's why everything is becoming. I don't think that God created something separate. I think that God was becoming creation, and then the multiverse and all the different exchanges in the multiverse are basically happening within God's head, if you will. We are those thoughts and these exchanges happening. They feel like everything is very opposite. Like there's forces that are going at each other. That there's that there are lines to be drawn between different ideas, different forms, and different forces, different political, religious, or even astral and causal, and or the hells and things like that. We feel like all these things are at odds with one another, but really it's this continuous thought within God's mind of Him experiencing Himself, trying to work these things out that are in Him, because nothing can be outside of God. Everything is within God. Everything that we experience is within God. So um, really we are experiencing that, God trying to work all of this out within His own head in a way. And these are just comparisons. That God doesn't have like a literal head, and He's not a he. But if I was going to sum it up in ways that we can understand, I'd say that the multiverse is just an exchange of ideas happening within God's head. I don't think, and then that's why I think that ultimately you could say these thoughts that we are ultimately upgrade into more permanent pieces of the infinite in a way. It's I can relate thoughts becoming synapses and things like that. But that's really what I think creation is, and I think that's why God is basically thinking all of us. It's because He's working things out within Himself.
Yeah. So this story is like pretty much the same that I had, but I want you to know your
Yeah.
thoughts. Like, this is what I got from Shiva himself, but like his story was like a little bit like it was like that. He told that when nothingness, he like the dimension of nothingness was just there, and there was no Shakti and nothing, only nothingness, only Shiva, So what happened when the Shakti um ran out of nothingness, it became everything. Like a huge explosion happened out of nothingness, and like it become everything, and that's the people call Big Bang explosion. Like he told me, like that's what you all call Big Bang explosion, but they don't know, like, yeah, the nothingness become everything. Now they are seeing that black holes were like they're seeing some kind of specific energy in black holes, and they said earlier, they said like it was nothing, it was like it have like it was empty, but now they're
Do you
saying like,
do you
yeah,
believe black
there's
holes go somewhere? I have my own thoughts, but like, do you believe black holes go somewhere, or do you think that they're just that nothing?
it goes in black hole goes into abyss. That's the only place they go. That's the only place they connected to. Maybe like this could be wrong. This is my perception. This is not given to me by Shiva, but what is given to me by Shiva is like the all he said is the nothingness became everything when Shakti rolled into the nothingness, and and the nothingness roared, He explained like in kind of like movie tale. He said that like they see a man sitting, meditating, and suddenly and Shakti rise up into that man, and he roared, and every Shakti goes out of its mouth, and it become everything. This is how he defined it to me, but I don't know, like, you can
So,
understand it.
so do you think that there's other universes besides this one?
Yes, there are a lot of universes that there there are a lot of universes. There are aliens, a lot of universes,
Yeah,
aliens.
I have a belief in the multiverse, and
The
the idea that there are various levels of reality, and I think that ultimately there is a number of universes, but by the time that we counted them all, there'd be more. So
Yeah.
it's really beyond our conception
It's
to try to figure out like all the universes that there are. But yet, like Paramahansa Yogananda said, center everywhere, circumference nowhere. So in a sense, we can connect to all the universes wherever we are if we break down our barrier. There is no circumference, but that need not be a problem because there is center everywhere. And when I work with other gods in different traditions, when I work with Odin, he's a lot like Vishnu. He cares more about preserving this world for as long as possible. Well, really, the multiverse for as long as possible. It's not about good or evil. It's about just preserving it for as long as possible by whatever means necessary. Just like Krishna does in the Mahabharata war. But he does that so that we have as much a chance as possible to reach that no thingness, that nothingness beyond, before everything gets sucked back in and another night of Brahma comes and there's another day of Brahma for our particular universe. And that works a little bit differently for other universes, but for our particular universe, I believe that a night of Brahma is when every galaxy within our universe is sucked back into one point, and then
yeah,
there's a night of Brahma, and then
yeah,
the
yeah,
Big
yeah.
Bang happens, and it's a day of
Mm.
Brahma. So
It's
that's
again it's the same cycle. It's repeated over again and again, and that's not gonna happen. Like I know, like specific time told by Shiva to me, like when it's gonna happen.
so
The end
you
of
don't think that's gonna happen?
yeah, it's gonna happen. I've said that I know a little time like when gonna happen. Like I know a specific age like from this to this, but I don't know like whether he like appreciate if I tell everybody because everybody I can tell you because you're gonna take it, but not everybody on your channel can take it.
That's
Not
fine. I
everybody.
mean, you don't have to tell everybody. It's fine. I actually talked to the last person I talked to on my channel. I asked him about his initiation, but he couldn't share anything about the initiation, which is understandable. Sometimes there's stuff that we can't share. There are beings that I'm directly opposed to that I can't share that aren't the beings that you would expect. Beings that most people don't know about. Let's just say that they're very abyssal. But when I say opposed, I just mean that they're more concerned with not things not being preserved and really making that end happen quicker. And that's why I oppose them. It's not because that they're evil. It's that they are trying to suck everything back and they're trying to destroy everything too quickly. But anyway, I would like to, as far as the video goes, we can keep on talking after, but I'd like to ask you one more thing. If there's any advice that you give to anybody out there based on what you've learned or like what you think, is there any advice that you give to just the general, spiritual person out there? Is maybe like one or two things.
The only advice I want to give to everybody is like this is the age, this is the age to grow because after this, nobody like it's gonna be soon enough. Like everything would not be here, like very soon enough. This all our universe would be destroyed and sucking back, and so like you gotta be powerful enough and in this life become powerful, become aware, live your life like as you want. Live your life free, become more powerful, become more spiritual, become more engaged with the gods, learn the secrets of God because this is the age, man. Live your life as you want because after this, you're not gonna come back to this earth and like uh, you're gonna be on higher dimensions if you want to progress spiritually and if you want to work with Shiva, he's gonna take you to higher dimensions. Don't suck into lower dimension. Don't get sucked into lower dimension. You're gonna progress. And live your life as you want, bro. Because this is the last time.
Well, I could definitely second that. Hey, thank you very much for joining me on the channel. We'll keep on talking, but this has been Shiv. I've been Hunter Salazar. I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to hit that like button down there, and thank all of you. And I'll see you all on my channel in the future.
All right.